Hello, welcome to the Retro Game Club podcast, episode 168, which is season 6, episode 5. I am Rob, and joining me as always is the speedrunning champion of Shrek 2, the video game, Hugh.
That's right. My runtime is actually 16 hours, but no one else is competing in it. So
No one else knew about it. So what's been going on?
I guess a bunch. Let's see here. I was talking maybe last episode or another previous one about how I've been buying DVDs again, like these cheap box sets. I don't know if you've been to like a Walmart lately.
No.
Well, you can get like all the Scream movies in a box set for like $15.
That's pretty cool.
They have like I went there during Halloween because I heard about this and I picked up like all the Halloween movies and all the Chucky movies and and they're just in these box sets for between $5 and $10. And it's not like DVDs with all the extra features and stuff. It's literally like reverse, the kind of DVD you can flip over and play on both sides.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's like such a pain to stream a lot of this stuff. But this is an article on The Verge mentioned this kind of comeback of physical DVDs. And they also talk about Walmart having all like the crazy. They talk about the rumor that Walmart may stop selling DVDs at some point because Best Buy just did. But I can assure you, if you go into a Walmart, they have a lot of DVDs and they are really cheap.
Cool.
Also on The Verge, they had. I call this the second dumbest thing I've read in 2024. The first dumbest was this article about Wendy's doing surge pricing. I assume you heard about that.
Oh, that made me sick to my stomach. Yeah.
I was, and then I like how they backtracked and they're like, it's not surge pricing because we're not calling it that.
So do you think they're actually going to follow through with it?
Absolutely. 100% they're going to do it and it's going to be a disaster.
Yes.
But second only to that is The Verge has an article called How to Modernize Your Retro Game Collection in a Few Convoluted Steps. And this is a tutorial sort of about how to get a Mister. And then you just print NFC stickers for all your games and you stick an NFC sticker on your game or the box. Because you want more stickers on all your cartridges, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're just thinking that's the one thing missing. And then you can you buy an NFC reader, and then you can tap your cartridge or box on the NFC reader, and Mister will boot that game. If you also have the ROM for the game.
Wow.
As opposed to just using a menu.
Yes. Yeah. In your eyes. Yeah.
But no, I'm going to tap this thing, and I don't want to meet the person that does. Now, I did see somebody that set up something like this where they had like a complete collection of Master System games. And I think they hooked up a barcode reader to the Mister to scan the barcode on the box to then boot the game.
That's better.
It is better. Yeah, because you're not sticking something.
But it's still unnecessary. But I mean, so is this podcast.
Their complete collection, right? That they were really just showing off that they had all these Master System games.
Yeah.
I had this extra Raspberry Pi 3 lying around that I wasn't doing anything with. So I've been trying to convert it into like a DOSBox machine. And I don't know how much I want to talk about that right now. It overall it works, but I kind of forgot like how much I don't like working with like config files. And DOSBox, you basically have to create a config file for each game. If you want to just boot seamlessly, you almost have to have a separate config file for everything.
So that's what ExoDOS does for you.
Okay.
It comes with all that stuff.
Letter X, letter O.
EXO DOS.
EXODOS.
Yeah.
I'll have to see if I can run that on the. Here it has a purple link in my Google results, so I must have read about it before.
Oh yeah, they recently updated it, so I think like probably 10 episodes ago we talked about it.
Okay. Yeah, I have to see if this can run on Raspberry Pi. It was mostly that I could have a machine just sort of dedicated to this.
Now, so when you click the torrent, you're going to fall out of your chair because it's like a terabyte download, but there's a light link where it only comes with like, the top 15 games, 100 games people want. And then if you click on a game that's not there, it just downloads it for you. So you still have the option to play all the games if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I have the games I want to play. I already have. Like, I don't need to download games. I have too many games already. But yeah, I might talk about that more some other time. I can talk about it today. What else I put on here? I started Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay.
Which, quite frankly, copies some stuff directly out of Breath of the Wild.
How many hours are you into it?
6.
What do you think so far? Are you having fun? You enjoying it?
No, yeah, no, it's really good. I really like the game. Once you get past like the beginning of the game is very linear, but then you just get dropped off in the overworld and you can explore as much as you feel like. And there's like, things to do everywhere, like all kinds of little things to find in the overworld. But it has this map and you unlock things on the map by finding towers and activating the towers.
Interesting.
Yeah, like,
I've seen that somewhere before.
Tower activated.
So you played Remake. Did you play, or should someone that plays Rebirth also play, there's the Aerith expansion to Remake, and then there's Crisis Core. Do you need any of that?
Crisis Core. Well, so this is what's interesting. I was actually putting some notes down for like my year-end recap. Crisis Core is to me like better than Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, I've never played it, so I will.
Crisis Core is just great. It's more action oriented. The combat is like an action game more than. I
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I usually like turn-based games, but Crisis Core does it really well, and it has a much better lead character than Final Fantasy VI or VII. Sorry. And the stories, it's just a good story, and like the way they kind of like tell the story, and the way that kind of the world, the way you kind of like explore the world and have all these different like subquests. Crisis Core is just really amazing. But like the first hour of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is literally the last hour of Crisis Core.
Interesting. Okay.
It's I mean the same like content. So that was kind of like, I'm like, oh, I just played this last year, like, because I played through the Crisis Core remake last year. And it's just a lot of like, okay, well, fine, we're going to do this exact same thing again. But overall, I like it. I mean, I like the game. My wife and kids are doing something tonight, so I was hoping to get an hour in at some point today. So we'll see. And then I think the last episode we mentioned the PC 88 version of Ys was on the Switch now.
Yeah.
By the time this episode's out, I think Ys 2 PC 88 version will be out also.
Are you going to get that one?
Yeah, I probably will. It's only going to be like $6, so whatever.
Yeah.
But again, this is like, I would really only recommend it if you're like just a outright like stand for the Ys series, and you can get through the game in Japanese because they're not localizing it.
Oh, nice! I did not know that.
The like system menus, like save state, load state, reset game, change disc, like that's in English. The game is in Japanese. And the game, Ys 2 has a lot more dialogue than Ys 1. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a try. Why not?
I'll be interested to hear the town music from that one, because the town music from Ys 2 from TurboGrafx is my favorite town music of all time.
Okay.
So, wonder how it is with bleeps and blops.
It sounds better than you. The first, I started a little bit of the first one. It sounds better than you're expecting, I think.
Okay.
All right, that is everything, man. That's a lot. What have you got going on?
Well, I just wanted to go over some housekeeping. Our next recording schedule is going to be a little messed up for a little bit. Both of us are just busy for the next few weeks, and who knows when I'm going to move. So we have an extra episode that I think we're going to miss a week. So then we'll have an extra episode like 2 or 3 weeks from now. And then we'll see how it is after that. So we'll keep you all updated and all the socials and stuff. But if there's like a week without a show, don't be alarmed or anything. I mean, it's just...
Yeah,
a
there's just
busy
nothing.
time of the year. Yeah.
There's just nothing we can do about it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I got a lot of like, kids on spring break and just other things I'm not going to talk about on the show. Nothing bad.
Yeah. Life.
Just life things that I don't really feel like talking about to a bunch of people on the internet.
And then,
not that our listeners are like psychos or anything. I think all of our listeners are fine, upstanding citizens. I just am not going to go into my personal life.
yeah. But then to go into my personal life, so still working on my move, and I boxed up all of my games. I got like really big totes, like 38-gallon totes from Home Depot. I'm like, oh, these will be perfect for my games and a ton of other stuff. We won't have to deal with boxes. Everything will be easy to store. And then so I had the International Moving Company come over and kind of do a quote, which I haven't gotten the money quote yet.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, per customs law, when you move to Australia, the company that moves you by law has to pack everything for you. And it has to be in special boxes. I guess it's so like you don't try to like smuggle drugs or guns or stuff in there. And so they're like licensed to do it. And so I'm going to have these chumps. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of video games.
But how do they know the company in the US isn't like putting guns in the box? Like,
no, it's the same company. So it's all licensed. It's
okay.
The same company exists in Australia. And so, because then it has to go through customs, and then customs probably opens some boxes and at random or whatever. I don't know what they do there. And so, these poor guys, because I'm going to be just a shadow over them. Being like, do you have to touch these games? Like, can I do this for you? It's going to be a nightmare for them. But, yes. So if any of our listeners have ever moved a bunch of video games a very far distance, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. I would like to hear your experience. But I haven't been playing anything except for our games of the week. Okay. So I really have nothing else to talk about.
I'm right now picturing like some kind of like A-team operation of people smuggling games into Australia.
It's pretty much what it is.
You have to get like a speedboat. It's like a Grand Theft Auto mission.
Yeah. It's like what's it called? Miami Vice.
Yeah. What's a boat filled with retro games?
But our news we only have 2 quick news items, and the first one is a router that can play GTA Vice City.
Yeah, it's funny. I just like I had to get rid of it. I unhooked one of these. I think this router, something very close to it at least. And the coverage of my house is terrible, so I upgraded to like a mesh system, and now no one complains about the internet connectivity anymore. So it's
good. Yeah.
That's really all I care about. But yeah, it's apparently has enough CPU to run Vice City.
Yeah, it's PowerPC based with a 36-bit address, 36-bit address space.
Based. So are they running I wonder if they're running the iOS version of the game.
Oh, well, still that wouldn't be that wouldn't be PowerPC, because that would be ARM.
Yeah.
It says well, what would PlayStation 2 be? Who was that by? Was that Hitachi or was that MIPS? What was PlayStation 2?
Well, it looks like they're booting into Debian Linux. So there must be running the...
Yeah, PlayStation 2 is MIPS, yeah. Really strange.
Yeah, well, and if you click through to the article, there's a lot more work going on to make this happen than you think. Because they're actually like, it's not just running it straight off the router. And how you look at it, they're adding... You have to actually add hardware so you can like use a keyboard and stuff.
And a USB.
Yeah, so they had a PCI slot. I'm trying to figure out which version of the game they're running.
They use an external ADM Radeon GPU.
Oh, this is really crazy. Okay. Do you know what version of Grand Theft Auto Vice City they're playing?
No.
So It's a port, obviously not a licensed port, of Grand Theft Auto Vice City to the Wii U.
Oh, wow.
And the Wii U uses basically the same CPU as this router.
That makes sense. Yeah, that was PowerPC.
And even then, there's a bunch of work. So it's a unlicensed, unapproved Wii U port of the game.
Yeah, very cool story. Totally pointless.
To play this game, you need a copy of GTA Vice. So you have to actually own the game. So this is like basically a thing to run the game. So it's not a port of the game. It's a port of the runtime.
But they also had to hack it a little bit too, the game.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. That's all. This is more work than I will ever have I'll never have time in my life to even think about something like this. Also, I can play Grand Theft Auto Vice City on the PS2 just fine.
Yeah. But then some GameCube news, kind of. It is.
I can't open this site. This is the comicbook.com here. It's one of the sites that does not work with my ad blocker.
Well, they reportedly are porting Shrek 2 to the Switch or the Switch 2.
Yeah, great. I think I put in the notes that right now you can walk into any Goodwill or Salvation Army store and buy roughly 300 copies of Shrek 2 for $1. Not $1 each. A garbage bag filled with 300 copies of Shrek 2 for $1.
Yes. Yes. So
and my kids had this game, by the way. Like,
it's horrible. It's a horrible game.
I wasn't going to go horrible, but I was going to go,
It's a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair. It's really like my kids, got a lot of, my kids are a little bit older than yours, so they came up through a time when there were a lot of games, like there was a
licensed.
What's that penguin movie?
Happy Feet?
The Dancing Penguin, yeah. So the Happy Feet games, the Curious George games, the Bee's Life, obviously Shrek 2, Dora the Explorer when they were really young, like all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And compared to those other games, Shrek 2 is like okay.
Okay.
These other like the sort of licensed games of the GameCube era has a lot of really, really bad like shovelware, just bare minimum gameplay. The Curious George game in particular, it actually, being a parent, I've had to play some of these games.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off all right, but it eventually gets to a stage where like I've been playing video games since 1983 or something, and I could not get past the stage.
Yeah, I mean, since I collect DS games, anytime I see any DS game I don't have, I usually pick it up, and a lot of it is that kind of stuff. And I think like, oh, maybe my kids will like it, And yes, a lot of those are rough, very rough.
They are. The one that tripped me up, and I've always wanted to write an article about this, was there's a game on DS called Imagine Ballet Star. Okay,
I do not have that one.
Oh, but how can you not? It's like go to any. it's a nickel anywhere that has loose DS cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
And on the front is like a young woman dressed like a ballerina. She sort of looks like Sarah Michelle Gellar, to give you a visual, but in a ballerina outfit and like 16. And you're like, oh, okay, it's some kind of ballet game. But when you play it, it's actually someone licensed a Japanese dating sim where the lead character is a ballerina and rebranded it as like a game for 8-year-old girls in the US.
But it's still like a dating sim?
It's still it's a dating sim.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like an R-rated dating sim, but it's not like they think you're going to be doing like, they're going to think it's like Just Dance or something is what they,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you think it's going to be. But then when I fell into that rabbit hole is like, there's a whole bunch of DS games called like Imagine, Imagine something.
Mm-hmm.
And all that company did was buy just random, what Japanese licenses and just slap like an American cover on it in a rough translation. The games have no relationship to each other. None of them, like if there was an Imagine Ballerina 2, it would be a different game altogether because it's not even from the same developers.
That might be a good YouTube series going through those games.
Yeah, someone must have dug into this now because like my kid's got a few of those, Imagine Bakery Chef or what. I don't know if that's a real one or not. I think there's like an Imagine Babysitter one maybe. But yet they're just all like not what you would expect.
Yeah. People have looked at my DS collections and been like, why do you have this stuff? But it's kind of hard not to when you're collecting.
Yeah, and DS, I mean, if you're buying
and Wii too.
Yeah. It's not a lot of space, so.
But Game Club.
Yes.
Right. We have a topic, but we're gonna
kind of merge it with the Game Club a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll do mine first. I did Castle of Shikigami on the PS2, Xbox, and Windows. This is by Alpha Systems. They actually did quite a bit of stuff. They did the Phantasy Star Portable, the PSP games, Scarlet Nexus, some Dragon Ball Z games. Their site, huh?
They did a ton of TurboGrafx CD ports.
Mm-hmm.
Like their name is not, you'll see it like in a splash of the title screen, but like this is a very like weird bit of trivia, like the number of games that they were responsible for doing like porting on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of the Hudson stuff was actually like Alpha System behind the scenes.
Yeah, like they're rarely a publisher, they're a developer. Yeah, just a dev house. And their website, alphasystems.net, looks exactly like you would think it would. It looks like just a Japanese anime video game company website. But then if you click in the top right corner, if you click on the English link, it takes you to the most boring website with just a picture of a building. It's like totally different. It makes no sense at all. I don't know who they're trying to cater towards and who speaks English, but not to people playing games. So it looks like they're looking for investors or something. But anyway, this game, Castle of Shikigami, is a top-down shooter, a horizontal shooter. And I discovered this game, I forget how, I think I saw it in an arcade or something. And it was right around the time where I started collecting arcade cabs, and I realized that this game you could get on the GNet board, which was like the PlayStation 1 arcade board. It was a little bit more powerful than a PlayStation 1. And this game never came out for PS1, it came out for PS2. And a castle type thing all of a sudden is floating over Tokyo. I really didn't pay much attention to the story. You could pick from a few different characters. Each has a different special power. And the character I chose was the main one where if you hold the button down, all the power-ups come towards you, and which was really helpful. And also you're like, I don't know, it was like a ghost or something came out of you that like just went from enemy to enemy, killing them. And the mechanic in this game is that the closer you get to the bullets, it's called a grazing system. If the bullets graze you, your bullets get much stronger. They like turn red and you do much more damage, like 2 or 3x the damage. And it really helps during boss fights. And this time I played this, I used to have the GNet cart of this. I don't anymore. I sold all that stuff. But this is on Steam. There's a sequel. Majors can correct us on all the names because all of them have crazy names. And the Steam port has unlimited continues, which is kind of a double-edged sword because it doesn't really make you want to get better at the game when you could just press a button and another quarter's in it. You could just kind of get through many levels that way. But it's really fun. And the reason why this game I think is so beautiful is it used the polygons at that time in the best way possible, where you're going really fast over Tokyo, which is just a bunch of buildings, boxes, blocks. And just the perspective of that, it just makes the game look so cool. And kind of the color palettes they used were just perfect. It almost has like that Akira, the movie Akira type feel to it, if you ask me. And yeah, I like this game. I don't really like shooters at all. I'm horrible at them, but this one's so beautiful. The music is great. It has a cool mechanic. It seemed like it was ahead of its time. And I would definitely recommend this game. I really would. It's pretty cheap on Steam. So, if you're a Steam player, might as well pick it up. It's definitely hard. But sorry, that was a long. I don't know if I took a breath and all
fine.
that.
No, I really didn't play this because I don't like shooters. I did look at the speed run. The speed run is 18 minutes and 14 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It is the only speed run for the game. So I think there's a few people out there who just look for games with no speed runs and just decide to do it. Based on what I saw, I think I would last 5 seconds in this game.
Yeah. But do you agree that it's a really pretty game?
Oh yeah. Look, it looks really, really nice. I would not enjoy this game if I tried it.
It's like one of those games that's more fun to watch someone play, kind of.
Yeah. Although you probably want to like not turn all the lights off because there's a lot of flashing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I really didn't follow the story at all. I was kind of like, who cares? Move on. But yeah, let's move on to your game, which kind of leads to a topic.
Yeah. So I did original Super Mario Brothers, although I didn't do the original version. I played through the Super Mario All-Stars version. I decided to do one world a night for 8 nights. That's pretty short. That's a 5-minute investment, I guess. It's been a really long time since I played like worlds 3, 5, 6, and 7.
The warp over worlds.
Yeah, because most of the time I'm just, you play Super Mario Brothers, you're like, I'm just going to do a quick run through, right? And, the speedrunners finish in 5 minutes, but mortals like us, it's like 10, 12 minutes to get through the game, right? I forgot about like the maze levels. So there's 3 maze levels total? Or 2, right?
I know about 8-4. What's the other
8-4, yeah, well, there's 2 others before that. Where they're pretty obtuse. Like, it's not. I have to believe, and I also don't remember how I felt back in the day, but like first time I encountered those levels, I must have been totally stumped. Like, why do I keep running to the right and this keeps repeating? Because nowhere does it tell you like you have to figure out the route through this dungeon. You just don't. Maybe it's in the manual or something.
Especially if you're used to games like Pitfall and stuff, where that's just how they looked. You know.
And then it's like, oh, you have to like go through this dungeon in a particular order. And I still, even today, I'm like, wait, what's the path? I got to go look that up again because I don't.
Me too.
I don't have those memorized. 8-4 I do because I've done that level a lot. But the other ones I really don't. And again, it gives you no help at all. And then in our last episode we talked about like Mario 64 being the first game to get 3D games right. For like multi-screen platformers, I kind of got to say Pitfall was the first game to get that right, but Super Mario 2 added just a ton to the genre.
Knocked it out of the park, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were other games that did this style very well. But yeah, there's so much, all the hidden. There's just so many like hidden things in the game. As you're playing through, you're like, oh wait, I kind of remember there was a power up over there that I because I haven't done like World 5 or 6 in forever. Like, oh yeah, there's a power up I didn't do. There's a vine or something. I mean, there's just like all these little hidden things that I know I missed a lot of them because I don't remember where all of them are. And I chose the Mario All-Stars version mostly because you can save. You don't have to play through the whole game in one sitting. I don't know. What do you think of Super Mario Brothers?
So yeah, I adore this game. I was with the Nintendo craze with everyone else, and I remember a school friend of mine got Nintendo and then Super Mario Brothers. He actually got a Nintendo pre-Super Mario Brothers, and then he got that, and I was just like, oh man, that's when I wanted nothing else to do with my 2600, and and a lot less with my Apple too, and the colors, the music, the gameplay were all perfect, and it just worked and it holds up today. The little things set it apart. Stuff like when you hit right on the D-pad when Mario goes, he doesn't just go from stop to full speed. It's a gradual thing, and when you pull the other way, he skids. he slides. I mean, I thought that looked so cool. The fireworks, at the castles, the flagpoles, like there was no reason for a flagpole. Why are those there? But it just worked. And
well, I think it's that you're taking down Bowser's flag. I think is what
oh
the
my
point
gosh.
is.
I've been
Right?
playing this
Bowser
game
has conquered the kingdom, and you're taking the
I've
flag
been playing
down.
this game for almost 40 years, and I never thought about that.
Yeah. I think that's what's going on there.
And so I played mostly the original for this one, just one playthrough, and I actually did have to look up the 8-4 puzzle, and I did play a little bit of the All-Stars. It's the first time I played the All-Stars one in a long time, and yeah, that's pretty, and it feels just like it. They got all the math correct in that. And
they patched a lot of the bugs, because I did go through and look at speed runs for Super Mario All-Stars, and they're all much, minute or two longer than the NES equivalents, because, just because they fixed bugs.
Yeah. And then they created a bug in the lost levels in All-Stars. They ruined when you hit a block, you keep going up. You don't bounce right back down. So
okay.
Playing
I will refuse to play lost levels.
Oh, yeah, it's unplayable, especially in that. But that leads us into our quick topic. It's not so much a topic, but just a quick discussion about like Mario Brothers through Super Mario World. Just quick thoughts, quick maybe ranking. And so since I have some notes on this, and I'm already talking without even taking a breath.
I have a ranking in my head.
Yeah. It's hard to hate the OG Mario. It kind of is what it is. And I'm not talking about Super Mario Brothers. I'm talking about the single screen Mario Brothers game.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Great game. The jumping in it's a little bit weird. They got it right in Super Mario Brothers, but it's a fun game. And it's fun that you could get it on a bunch of like the Game Boy Advance Mario games. And anyway, Super Mario Brothers was literally a game changer. Super Mario Brothers 2 Lost Levels is just not fun. It's just not a fun game. Super Mario Brothers 2 USA is my favorite game of these games to play. It's the one I have the most fun with.
Yeah.
I think it's highly underrated, and I would love a 3D take on this. Like if the next Super Mario Brothers game was 3D, but like in this land or whatever, I think that would be really cool. I think Odyssey kind of comes closest to that, but even though Super Mario Brothers 3, I think is the pinnacle of 2D platforming, I still like Super Mario Brothers 2 USA better.
Yeah, if I'm going to play one, I agree with that. Super Mario 2 has always been my favorite of the originals. And it's also like the foundation for the Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon.
Yep.
It's set in Super Mario 2. So anyone who laments that the US Super Mario 2 was not some kind of canon game, I don't know, man. They made the cartoon based on it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that was like the future of Mario back then. And what are your thoughts on Mario World?
Not a fan. I've tried it. I've started it 3 times. I know that number because it's always been on a different system. So I actually never really. I mean, I had it on Super Nintendo, but I never played it. First time I played it was on 3DS. I bought a 3DS that had Super Mario World included with the 3DS. It was I think it was probably the XL. I bought it because I wanted the XL. And I'm like, all right, I'm finally going to play Super Mario World. And I got through one stage and said, nah, this isn't for me.
What do you think it is about the game?
It's boring.
That's it. That's exactly it. And it's weird because it's pretty. The music's great. Mario plays great in it. It adds so much from Super Mario Brothers 3, but I don't think it's as fun.
I kind of feel like it takes away a lot from Super Mario 3.
What do you mean?
It's just more. It's like here's what I would say. It's almost too polished. Like the things that were kind of fun about Super Mario 1, 2, and 3 is that there was just buggy, weird stuff sometimes. There were ways to get through levels you probably weren't supposed to be able to do. And Mario World just feels like it's too like antiseptic, like we fixed this up too well.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And I remember another neighborhood kid got Super Mario World way before I did. I didn't get Super Nintendo until, the Link to the Past combo pack of that. And then I eventually got Super Mario World with the All-Stars plus Mario World. But when he was playing it, I played it for a minute back then. And I remember thinking like, I'm just going to wait for Mario 4 to come out. Not knowing that in Japan, this was called Super Mario 4.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to like the Console Wars book because, Sonic the Hedgehog was out before Mario World.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a section in Console Wars where they talk about like Sega's reaction to Mario World. And they're sort of like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's a good game, but it's kind of blah. Like compared to Sonic, it's just kind of Sonic, like Mario World perhaps looks better than Sonic. I don't really know how to quantify which one looks better.
Mm-hmm.
But Sonic is just a completely different, experience. And it's fast and, exciting and all that stuff. And Mario World is more like Mario's leisurely stroll through Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah. And I kind of feel bad because I know that people 3 to 5 years younger than us, this is their Mario. So please don't think like we're dunking on your Mario. It's just like,
I don't think it's a bad game.
In fact, it probably definitely is one of the all-time best 2D side scrollers ever made. But in this list, it's near the bottom for me.
Yeah. Now I would would say I agree with the ranking you had. I would put Super Mario Lost Levels or Original Super Mario 2 last. I would probably put something like Contracting Norovirus ahead of playing Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels. Like if you told me right now I have to do one of those two things, either play that game all the way through or be violently ill for 48 hours, I might go violently ill for 48 hours. The thing I would add to this list, though, is Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2.
Oh, yeah. Both great games.
Both great. Yeah, like Super Mario, Super Mario Land is maybe just barely below original Super Mario Brothers, but Super Mario Land 2 would be ahead of Super Mario Brothers, I think.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Now,
I think this is great. Yeah.
I've never played World 2. I've never played it. Yoshi's Island, or that's what it's called.
Oh, Yoshi's Island. Yeah.
You could take away my retro card.
Yeah, it's another one I've started a couple times and was like, it's mostly that Baby Mario's really annoying.
I'll check it out. The artwork looks great in it. But my order was Super Mario 2 USA, in order from favorite to least favorite. 2 USA, 3 Super Mario Brothers, World, Bros, Lost Levels. But yeah, you put the Game Boy games in there. Yeah, they're probably just above both of them. The first one's just below Super Mario Brothers, and then the second one's just above it, probably.
Yeah, the second one it's kind of short, but that's the only criticism I really have, and it's for the Game Boy. I mean, it's not going to be.
Oh, the music on it, the space level, the music is so good.
Yeah. And those are all on the Switch now. Well, I don't think Super Mario Land is. Super Mario Land 2 is for sure because I played it on the Switch recently.
So, any closing thoughts on the original Mario Bros. Stuff?
No. I mean, again, I don't misinterpret what we said about Mario World. I admit it's a good game. I just never got into it.
And compared to these other ones, we just like it less than them.
Yeah.
And if you listen to this podcast a lot, you know by now that we don't have very good opinions or taste.
No. I was going to try to figure out where Bonk's Revenge fits into this list, but that's for another time. Bonk's Revenge to me is like one of the best 2D platformers ever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this would be in the top. Yeah, for me, that would be above.
Somewhere in there.
What do you want to play for next episode?
So I'm going through my list of things I want to talk about. And I put Adventure.
Nice.
For Atari 2600 Adventure.
Easy to play on the Atari 50, right?
Yeah. Or I'm in the browser or on a plug and play system or whatever, man. Yeah.
I can't believe both of these games haven't been picked by us yet. Lode Runner is what I'm going with. Please play any version. I will be playing the PCE version.
Okay.
So
is there a 7800 version?
I think so.
Okay, then I'll probably play that. Wait, is there? Hold on. It is. No. Apple II, Atari 8-bit, Commodore 64, VIC-20, IBM, Arcade, PC-88, SG-1000, NES, ZX Spectrum, MSX, Atari ST, PC Engine, and then like a bunch of ports to modern consoles. BBC Micro.
So everything but the 7800.
800. I don't see 2600 on here either.
Yeah, this one seems like it'd be hard on that, but yeah. Anyway,
I'll probably do NES then if it's on NES.
If you play Adventure, Lode Runner, really any Super Mario game, Castle of Shikigami, if you play GTA on a router, or if you are the Shrek 2 speedrunner, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net. Remember, it'll be a few weeks, a month or so before our next live episode, so it might take us a while. So it might be almost an email-only episode if you guys write in a lot, which I would love for you to do that to us. Zach does all of our social, so we have the links in the show notes. And apparently we're on Blue Sky now.
Great. What is that?
That's the guy that created Twitter. When he sold Twitter, now he made Blue Sky. It's an open source Twitter thing. I think it has less Klansmen on it.
For now.
For now, yes, for now.
I've heard of it. I've heard of Threads. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's fine. It's all. I'm not on most of it. But one of my favorite emails ever written came in this week from SM Olivia. So I mentioned, Rob, I'm reading this in my voice now. I mentioned Rambus during the last episode about during the N64 Super Mario 64 discussion, and I mentioned that Rambus was sued and it wasn't going to go anywhere. Well, it turns out that in the early 2000s that did happen. The FTC did file an antitrust case against Rambus for being patent trolls and monopolizing the DRAM market. And SM knows about this very well because he was the only person to write a briefing in favor or on behalf of Rambus. And there's a link here to what he wrote. And it was thrown out, right? So Rambus kind of won.
Yeah, he obviously made a very persuasive argument.
Yeah, because it seemed like many other people were on the other side of that. So that's great. I guess it was a landmark case. And that, on another note of that, he knows a bunch of the investors for Rambus through the lawsuit. And one of them was Kevin Coran, the co-founder of General Computer Corporation, the company that developed Miss Pac-Man and the Atari 7800. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for writing that and sharing that link. That's awesome. See, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I'll get this one from Majors here. Commodore kids these days don't know the meaning of insert disc 2. Actually, I think my kids could figure out what that meant. He adds be kind rewind to the list of things that kids... I bet my kids would figure that one out too. If I just said, what does that quote mean? I think both my kids would figure out what that meant. Robs, you don't like the term Metroidvania or digital only?
No.
You do not. He has a similar pet peeve, which is when people say turbo graphics, as in GRAPHICS, as opposed to turbo graphics, which I don't know how to consciously pronounce the two the other way, but I do see it spelled that way a lot, which that annoys me. It takes like 1 second to look up how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Games that blew you away. We mentioned Mario 64 and GTA 3 being kind of games that, at their time frame were, a huge advancement. He wants to reference Far Cry. He says the first game that felt fully like it had a fully explorable world. And they're like Far Cry 5. I've never played any of them.
Neither have I. I think I own them all.
Shooters, but they're They're not. They're more open.
And there's a TV show coming out for them soon.
Okay.
I don't know anything else about it.
I don't either. Castle of Shikigami. Mentions the export naming, how it's a bunch of different names, which we may or may not have mentioned. But the grazing mechanic, he was a big fan of because of the high risk reward ratio. So that's an interesting one. Favorite 70s to 90s video game magazines. Did we ask that? Well, we must have asked what was it called?
Question of the episode, yeah.
Okay. It said hands down, diehard game fan. Said before then, he was reading Electronic Gaming Monthly in the magazine aisle at Kroger every month. One of the first magazines he ever bought was July 1989 Video Games Computer Entertainment. If you look at the cover, you will see why he's a TurboGrafx fan today. Actually, I didn't click on this link. Hold on. Yeah, it's a just giant size TurboGrafx on the cover.
I'm going to send this to my phone right now so I could flip through it later.
The PC Engine comes to America. Create your own video games. We'll tell you how. Lots of exclamation points, like a joke out of Seinfeld. Oh my gosh, look at this ad on the first page. Nintendo carrying case. This is, so I would use this as my carry-on bag.
We should do a read-through of this sometime on the show.
Yeah, he mentions another issue. Oh, geez, the next ad is really great too. This has some of the best ads I've seen. It has the second ad is for an arcade cabinet that you can stick a Nintendo in. $250.
Because you want to stand when you play Nintendo.
You want to stand when you play Nintendo. Cordless, yeah. I haven't read this issue before, but I am really, really impressed with the ads. And I was skipping around, so I may not have read the ads in order. But yeah, there's some. I know it's weird to praise a magazine for ads, but this has really great ads.
I mean, the gaming magazines ads are half of the fun.
Yes. Computer gaming in the year 2000. Ooh, interesting. All right. Let's move on. We'll talk about this magazine some other time, perhaps. He also mentions having a subscription to Nintendo Power because obviously everybody did. It was super cheap, and Nintendo pushed it really hard. He also had a subscription to GamePro at one point, but I think that was because it was free through Toys R Us, and that GamePro was always kind of trashy. Then he mentions he wrote into EGM in the early 90s, and they published his letter in the February 1991 issue. A friend recently mentioned seeing his name in it, sounds like. I copied the letter. It says, I'm writing to find out more information about the Japanese magazine you wrote in issue 16. The magazine seems to be just what I've been looking for but can't find. I like the idea of a bi-weekly magazine with 200 pages, but here in the US, there's a 200-page magazine, always has 150 pages of ads and 50 pages of text. Have you thought about going bi-weekly? And the TL response, the too long didn't read response is it was Famitsu was the magazine they were talking about, and they are not going to go bi-weekly. They'd have to change the whole title of the magazine, really. And then he wants to plug Playthrough GameCon in Raleigh, North Carolina. It is March 16th and 17th. I don't know if this issue will be out, or if this episode will be out in time.
It should be. Yeah, it should be.
Okay. So that's North Carolina. And then, of course, Midwest Gaming Classic is only a month away at this point. This is the first time in years I've not pre-ordered tickets yet. Usually I pre-order them right away. And the reality is nothing bad, got a lot going on. I haven't really figured out when I'm going to go there. I have not missed a show ever, I don't believe. I mean, other than the first year when I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
So I assume I will go. I'm just, it's sort of weird. The past couple of years, I'm really happy they've moved to a larger facility, but it's back to being as crowded as it was when they were in a Sheraton hotel basement, right?
So they need a stadium now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a layout change. I don't know what exactly, but I was going to look at the math. It's really hard to actually get into play stuff there. Especially because like a lot of their arcade space now is for like sponsored pinball machines, which I like. I have zero complaints about sponsored pinball machines, right? But if there's like Elvira pinball or something, whatever's new that year, like there's Metallica pinball one year and Halloween pinball one year, and I can't remember what the big one was last year. I don't think it was Elvira, but it was something, whatever, just tons and tons. So like a huge amount of floor space is dedicated to these new pinball games, but that's also what everybody wants to play because it's something new, right?
Yeah.
So you can't get in to them at all. So it's still a great show, and I would still recommend going. I'm just like, I gotta think of maybe I just go on Sunday when it's not like as crazy there.
Get there early.
Yeah, get there early, do the stuff I want to do, check out the vendor hall. I'm just sort of trying to figure out exactly how I want to tackle the show this year. That's all.
Well, I've bought tickets every year and I've never gone. Usually due to weather. So maybe I'll do that again.
Yeah, you'll get your move date for Australia, and you'll have to buy the tickets, and you'll actually move to Australia.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So thank you for all that feedback. Social media. Somebody likes GamePro. We can put him and Majors in a octagon together about GamePro. Nintendo Power, Atari Age, another GamePro fan. Computer and video games, PC gamer, Next Generation, and of course, this is you.
Yeah, that's me.
You put one of my favorites of all time, Computer Shopper.
On archive.org, I found a mid-90s computer shopper. There's not because Jason Scott
is it like a 400 gig download. Those things are
it's huge. Hilarious. Yeah, and it Jason Scott just put out a podcast episode about how those were one of the least scanned magazines ever for archiving, and someone put up like 60 issues on eBay for a lot of money, and they got someone to sponsor it and send it to his house. So he's been scanning a bunch in, which is really cool. But yeah, EGM, GameCro, Next Gen, and by far Computer Shopper were my favorites.
Yeah, I liked Computer Shopper a lot too.
I was just drooling over all the nice computers in those magazines, and there'd always be weird sections like the digital alpha computers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find I'm trying to find the one you talked about from the 90s. Okay, let's see here.
I'll be able to send you the link later.
Well, I see March 94. I was probably shopping for computers. September 94. This one I probably own.
I think September 94 is the one I have open on my
885
iPad.
pages, and the cover says Pentium's under $1,500. There's a good chance I was trying to shop for a Pentium under $1,500 this time. Like, I would suggest we read this magazine, but 885 pages, man.
It could be its own series.
Yeah, Computer Shopper, page by page. I mean, it doesn't change much from month to month. Like, it's not a huge variation, but
if Computer Shopper still existed, I might actually subscribe to it now. It doesn't exist anymore.
No, I mean, how can it? You have PC Part Picker or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But if they made Retro Computer Shopper, that might be a fun magazine.
Yeah, brutal. I mean, a lot of Computer Shopper is just listings of prices. So like, there's not like a ton of, I guess we could review one because there's really not that much content. I mean, there is some content, but it's also, sorry, I'm looking at this.
It brings you back, right? It's a lot of fun to flip through.
Yeah. ZOS notebooks. Oh man. The ZOS Ambra, a mean green affordable machine. I don't remember that at all. All right. So anything else we want to talk about?
No. Thank you, everyone, for writing in. And again, might be a few weeks before the next episodes. Don't freak out. Please email us, email@retrogameclub.net. And I think that wraps up this episode.
Yeah. So thanks for listening.